This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Since 1983, Nissan has been building award-winning vehicles right here in America. And this summer, they're making it easier to drive one home. No new tariffs, just lower MSRPs on the Rogue and Pathfinder. So you can get the car you want at the price that feels right. But don't wait. These deals are only here for a limited time and while supplies last. See why Nissan is number one for new vehicle quality among mainstream brands. Learn more at nissanusa.com. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Personal foul. Clipping. No! No! No way! No! 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 Come on!
One on third down. McCarthy shotgun, three receivers to the right. Justin is wide right. Snap. McCarthy looking right. Oh, he's going to be sacked. J.J. McCarthy sacked by a fellow rookie. That's James Pierce Jr., the rookie from Tennessee, first-round pick. And that's the first sack of his National Football League career. All right, second and goal from the 7. McCarthy, play action, straight drop, hit from behind, and sacked. Sacked by Jalen Walker, first-round Bulldog from down Athens way. First sack of his National Football League career. Naylor in motion. McCarthy, play action, straight drop. Throws to the right side, and it's intercepted by the Atlanta Falcons right in front of Jalen Naylor. And the interception goes to rookie Billy Bowman Jr. Fourth-round pick from Oklahoma. That's that young man's first National Football League interception.
First down, Atlanta.
It'll blow your mind now. Wishing you can stand here to hear what's going down between gangster and a man. He steps inside here, shelter from the rain. Chaotic circumstances that only bring him pain. Here, like you, I'm alone, just like the melody in the cosmic song.
Hey, Maplewood, good morning. What's going on? And welcome to Buffalo Wild Wings and the Friday football. Anybody want any free shirts? Make some noise. There you go. See, I told you guys this. All right, let's introduce the show so we can properly explain what's transpiring right now at the Friday Football Feast at Buffalo Wild Wings Maplewood. First and foremost, a round of applause for Nick Madden's street team, ladies and gentlemen. We got main man Sam here with Jeff and Chad. They're handling the auto with the engineering excellence of a Jared Wells with the Power Trip Morning Show down TI Way. We also thank Brett Blakemore for guiding the Great Ship Love Covenant at FM 100.3 KFAN. Ladies and gentlemen, from the fighting city of Anniston, Alabama. I relocated here several years ago. He covers the Minnesota Vikings for The Athletic. Can I get a witness and a raucous round of applause for Mr. Alec Lewis, ladies and gentlemen? And the producer of 9 to Noon, mad producer Eric Nordquist by my side, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Anybody want a free T-shirt? They're flying into the crowd All right, so do you guys think I laid that out pretty nicely? And here's what I'm talking about. Is
the intros? I thought that was great.
The first 2 Friday football feasts that we had, you're heading into the season. You eventually will beat the Bears. So it's raucous. Where was the first feast? I'm tripping.
Oakdale.
Buffalo Wild Wings, Oakdale. And this is no affront or no shots taken here at this crowd. But crowd was lively and wild. Buffalo Wild Wings, Coon Rapids, off the Bears win into the Falcons game. Crowd was lively and wild. But when you don't score a touchdown in a football game and you lose to a bunch of dirty birds, well, it's just a little more on the mellow side. Old Buffalo Wild Wings, Maplewood. I told you guys because Alec and Nordo, they're the new co-hosts of the Friday Football Feast. So Nordo has heard the feast for a decade and change. While working back at FM 100.3 KFAN, but you can't really get a feel for the vibe of like what people think about the team or how they're feeling about their favorite sports-related distraction until you actually get here. And a couple of tall beers have not hit yet because by 10 o'clock,
yeah.
Hey, how you going to sound at 10 o'clock? Make a lot of noise, hey.
Round 2.
Did I lay it out all right?
I think you did. You taught me well last week, too. You explained we got to wait until we're on air to give out the T-shirts.
Right.
Because especially after a game in which you don't score a touchdown, beers and free stuff, that gets everybody back in the mood here before we see Carson Wentz and Jake Browning get after it at noon on Sunday.
Welcome back, Alec Lewis. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I will also say the acoustics of each Buffalo Wild Wings definitely play a role. Like, I think Maplewood is as electric as it's been.
Yeah.
Even after coming off the loss, I just think you see, the way I don't know what I'm saying, but no,
you got Cookie Man over there.
Cookie Man's here.
I don't know what he put in your cookies, but mine were good.
Well, they had a smoke machine in here going earlier, too.
Say it again?
The smoke machine was running in here a bit by the entrance. Like,
really?
This is kind of a party up in Maplewood. What am I missing down in Chaska? My goodness.
Yeah, it's fantastic, but we have a football game this weekend, and it's a game, the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not end of the world kind of guy, must win kind of guy until we get later in the season, but man, after not scoring a touchdown last week, it sure would be nice to put up about 3 or 4 this weekend, wouldn't it, ladies and gentlemen? At Buffalo Wild Wings Maplewood, you take the 2 parts of Maplewood and you have the word maple, as in maple syrup, which is slow flowing, kind of like the Minnesota Vikings offense versus Atlanta last week. Now, the other part of it is wood, which is the material used for a make-believe 2x4 that needs to be used this weekend to knock those Bengals upside the head and turn that frown upside down. Can I get a witness? Alec, the best routes for the Minnesota Vikings to beat the Cincinnati Bengals this weekend, and good morning.
Good morning. I would say it's 2 things. One, definitely need not to turn the ball over offensively. That's probably key number 1. And then number 2, just Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. These guys are as dynamic as everybody in here knows. And so can you tackle them near the line of scrimmage, and can you eliminate 50-50 balls from going the other way? If you do those 2 things against the Bengals, we'll get into it over the course of this show, but this team has a lot of holes, specifically defensively. They might not have their 2 best corners, and those 2 best corners aren't even elite corners. So there is a lot of reason, I would say, to think that the Vikings, this is a get-right spot. There's just a lot of reason to think that. It's taken me until Thursday to have a clear head and look at this thing.
Yeah.
But now that we're here, I really do feel like if this Vikings team on Friday gives this fan base a spark in that stadium, it should be pretty fun in there with how the game plays out.
Well, you ain't lying about these acoustics at Buffalo Wild Wings Maplewood. It sounds rich and beautiful in here, but generally speaking, that's what happens when your favorite team doesn't score a freaking touchdown in the previous game and everybody's all stung. Nordo, and good morning.
Good morning. Step 1, score more points than the other team.
Nice.
How about a turnover, by the way, for a team that had all those takeaways last year?
Yes, sir.
We got Jake Browning rolling in here, and former Viking, and you know what? His squad beat our squad in 2023. He loves giving it to the other team when he has a good opportunity to do so. I need our team to take the ball on Sunday. And then I need a guy by the name of Jordan Mason. 22, 23, 24 totes on Sunday.
Yeah.
What we saw out of J.J. McCarthy, a lot of analysis to come over the ensuing weeks, and hopefully he's happy and healthy soon.
Yeah.
But this offense's inability to really continue with the run game, we saw those second and shorts all night, and then we couldn't do anything after it. Productivity on early downs, we're getting it, and we're not capitalizing on it. So new QB into the mix. We'll break down Carson Wentz over the next 3 hours, but I think this might come on the back of Jordan Mason. So I want takes, and I want totes on Sunday from my team.
And the name Jordan Mason, running back for the Minnesota Vikings, playing in his third regular season game wearing our colors. It's more of a polarizing name for yours truly as we get closer to the game. Like yesterday, 9 to noon did A Topic Exchange, and Nordo accurately, informatively, and eloquently focused on the Jordan Mason role in this game. So then I finished, and I bring this up because I know Alec Lewis watches every single Vikings play from the previous game from like an all-22 coaches angle standpoint.
Like 5 times.
Right.
I've watched it 3 times.
Well, I didn't see this until last night. And what triggered me to look for it was the weekly chat. 9 to noon is a privilege to have with Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. Each and every Tuesday at 11 o'clock, we call it X's and O's. Right at the end of the interview, we were talking about a missed touchdown on a swing left to Aaron Jones, where Justin Jefferson, he just had his guy in a vice. He was just blocked. That's as good as I've seen Justin lock up a guy on a single one-on-one block in quite some time. So if McCarthy was able to get that ball out to the left, the belief is Jones would have scored, but he got sacked, all right? Now, when you watch the play back, because I said to O'Connell, well, it looked like Leonard Floyd, was kind of a free runner, so that maybe you could leak Jones or whatever, and he's like, no, he wasn't a free runner, so indicating he was supposed to be blocked. So now I went young Alec on it. I went Alec Lewis on it and watched that thing 5 times to figure out who was the culprit. So after I look at Justin School and I'm like, well, he probably has to go there. And then I look at this guy, he probably had to go there. Then I look at running back Jordan Mason, who was to the right of J.J. McCarthy. And we've seen this blitz pickup, this edge pickup 8 million times from 8 million different backs. You're offset to the right, the guy's coming to the left, you run over, you smack him, the quarterback has time. I have no idea what Jordan Mason was doing on that play. He ran right into the offensive line. He went to the wrong guy. Floyd was untouched. There was no touchdown in a game. We needed one like we needed to breathe. So if the name Jordan Mason's going to come up a lot, which it is, and understandably so, you have to be, if you're going to play them in voluminous fashion, they have to accomplish all facets of what's required. And on that individual play, this doesn't mean Jordan Mason is a bad pass protector. I don't know enough about him. I just know on one of the biggest plays of the game, he whiffed and he blew it, and it was a giant play. So what do you think of all that?
Well, that was a play where, the Vikings were driving a little bit. They get to that 30-yard line marker, and then in the backfield, to your point, you had Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, and they were trying to do a little bit of a, it wasn't actually supposed to be a swing to Aaron Jones. It was supposed to occupy the defense that way and hit T.J. Hockenson behind.
No.
There was supposed to be a puller on the offensive line, and it was just botched completely.
Jeez.
That's the protection in the game and the offensive line performance in that game and in Week 1 was rough. I will say this about Jordan Mason. You're right in that he's going to have to prove it from a pass protection standpoint in this game, and they don't have C.J. Ham, who in the last couple of years Kevin O'Connell has used as kind of a third down pass protecting fullback. So I'm with you in that if Jordan Mason wants to be the guy everybody in here thinks and knows he can be as a runner, he's going to have to pass protect. But I will say, to Nordo's point, I really do think Jordan Mason could go off in this game.
Yeah.
the Bengals' interior defensive line is not exceptional. It's T.J. Slayton and B.J. Hill, two guys who nobody in the NFL is running to go acquire.
Right.
So if this Vikings team can run the football, you put Carson Wentz in a situation where he can succeed.
Well, the producer, mad producer, Eric Nordquist, early in the week, I don't know if it was an email he was looking at, an opinion he heard, or some form of a tweet involving J.J. McCarthy. But he became moderately apoplectic in that enough of the piling on of J.J. McCarthy. Let's talk about the protection or lack thereof he's getting, and actually dovetailed it into the fact that C.J. Ham's not playing right now. So that example that we just laid out right there is kind of a case point, and a topic for the patience required for this kid quarterback.
Yeah, and that's it's not trying to, I don't think I am. I'm not trying to go over the hill here to try and praise you or pump anybody's tires on J.J. McCarthy here and try to tell a story that just isn't there. Through these two games, and you laid it out with that singular play, PA, what a freaking circus that play was. Yeah. It made no sense. Jordan Mason in the wrong spot.
I have no
Where's
idea
the
what
center
the running
supposed
back
to be?
was
All
doing.
of those things through two games. I don't know if it's a communication issue that leads to disasters like PA was describing, but we're looking at a situation where I need my guy Brian O'Neill to play better. I need Will Fries. We just gave him a fat paycheck. Excited for him to be better. Needs to be. Ryan Kelly, a toe week 1. Now he's concussed. And Justin School, bless him, man. It's been awful. So, in some respects, and this is nutty, this is weird, 9 to noon hot take, it feels like the most consistent offensive lineman through two games has been the rookie Buckeye, has been Donovan Jackson, who's been imperfect in his own right. Missing C.J. Ham seems like a weird, like, third or fourth level talker when you're thinking about health.
Oh, it's in the weeds.
But it's deep in the weeds. But that's where we live sometimes. And C.J. Ham matters. This O-line needs to be playing better.
Hey.
There's still hope for number 9, but we're looking at Carson this weekend, of course, and what he can do in this mix.
And we will talk in voluminous fashion about these quarterbacks this weekend. But when you hear on KFAN, specifically with 9 to noon, when I or a liner or we say, we are you, okay, we are, in essence, members of Rube Nation, just like you. We just happen to have the microphones. What you just heard the last 11 minutes is personifying we are you. I mean, it was a Sunday game. Here we are at a Friday for another Sunday game. I think we're going to win. And we're still kind of pissed off about some things. Why? Because this has the potential to be a very high-end operation, not only in the regular season, not only in the division, but in the postseason. But from the House of Pain on Tuesday through getting all of that out of our systems on a Friday, we welcome you to the Friday football feast, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is your forward-thinking leader into Sunday at noon for the Boom against the Cincinnati Bengals. Sam Bird, ladies and gentlemen, he's filling in for Jared Wells. It's his first feast that he's engineering.
It's a nice jersey.
And if I'm Jared Wells, I look at the fact that it took 3 people, Sam, Jeff, and Chad, to run the engineering side of something that he does by himself.
It's called job security, ladies and gentlemen.
His lot in life is pretty strong. He's Alec Lewis. That's Eric Nordquist, and I'm Paul Allen. Courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com. What's on deck 9 to noon includes a game-changing defensive player from days gone by. Chad Greenway joins 9 to noon around the corner on FM 100.3 KFAN. Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, Chad Greenway joins us at the Friday football feast at Buffalo Wild Wings Maplewood.
Unbelievable.
On the giggles, Alec Lewis. On the 1A assistance with the engineering, Eric Nordquist, and Sam Bird's doing. Hey, Sam's doing a great job. It sounds great, right?
Pump him up.
Let's pump up Sam a little bit right now.
Still too early to tell.
He's got some perfectionist to him, which we thoroughly do enjoy. But it sounds great in here, and everybody's having a good time, including Chad Greenway, who joins us now, courtesy of Grey Duck Vodka and Grey Duck Spirits.
Hey.
Chad, by the way, played versus Vikings quarterback this weekend, Carson Wentz.
Wow.
In 2016. So it was Chad's final year. It was Carson Wentz's first year. And in Carson's rookie year, I think the Eagles won the game by like 11, low-scoring game. But what do you remember or know about Bismarck, North Dakota native Carson Wentz? And good morning.
And good morning. I just got to say, we got to get a little more juice in this room. I mean, I walk in.
Take it away.
I didn't love the energy when I walked in here.
Preach.
I like the crowd. I like where we're at. But we're 1-1. It's early. We get down. We get up. We got to be the thermostat, right?
Preach.
We're just steady. We're just always high energy. We don't go up and down with the season. It's a long year. We're all right.
Chad brought the energy in.
Wait,
let's go.
So that was the in the middle of the team huddle preach before a game.
Let's go. Yes. It's a long, arduous season. We're going to have the ups and downs. So, listen, watch that game. On several levels, disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
But everything you looked at can be fixed easily and easily remedied. We got out-physicaled, yes. Running game was tough. We got to tackle the ball better. So many different things happened that we can improve from 1 week to the next. Speaking about Carson Wentz, like the fact they go out and get this kid, first of all, he's hunting my land out in Delano. He's happy. Got him a little hunting spot. You know, we get the quarterback fat and happy. Deer are coming through there. We're seeing them on the cameras. So, I mean, we're going next level with Carson. I'll get deep into that brain in the next couple of weeks when he's out hunting with me.
Well, I hope we'll get him
locked
weekend.
in. No. He's going to get a dub this weekend. Easy peasy.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get a little hunting time next week. And we'll just go on a little 3-game run here with Carson. It'd be great.
What's your mindset defensively? Loving that, by the way. I hope they win three in a row into the bye. But what's your mindset as a defender here through 2, where you feel like the defense has kept your offense in a spot to take it? They take it week 1. Just couldn't get out of their own way week 2. What's your mindset now? You know you got a different QB in the mix and a tough offensive team in town when you're battling Jamar Chase and company.
Yeah, I think when you look at it defensively, everybody's got issues right now, especially all 3 phases after week 2. But the thing is you can't panic in this league. You absolutely can't panic. It's about you turn the page after a really good Monday Night Football win with a great fourth quarter. You turn the page in 24 hours and you move on to the next week. We didn't do that very good in week 2, clearly. Week 3, now it's another opportunity with all these changes. Hopefully we get a little bit healthier. But what I looked at defensively that I didn't love is the punch at the point of attack and the lack of attacking the line of scrimmage with the running back with John Robinson, who was at field level an absolute monster.
Yeah.
God bless that kid, right? With a lot of ability. But when I see some of us being a little more hesitant, not attacking gaps, not running through, not being physical, like those are things like, number 0 is a good example. I watched him a lot. I want to see him run through and make a play, get up and get hyped. I saw him playing a little bit more hesitant, and I love how he plays the game in pace, but I saw him miss some tackles where he would normally shoot his gun and go make a play. Instead, he's hanging back and waiting for things to happen rather than attacking. And I think that's got to be our mindset and change just moving forward defensively.
What leads to that? I mean, because human nature gets to win in professions and real life and stuff like that. But, I mean, Pace fires off the ball. His physicality is his calling card. Like with you, but you could run better than him. What leads to that? Just out of nowhere, all of a sudden you're like hesitant.
I think when you get punched in the mouth early in the football game, sometimes you sit back and say, "I'm just going to read and react and just see what happens and try not to make a mistake in a gap, especially in a gap run scheme." But in reality, the more you attack the line of scrimmage, the less angles you give Bijan Robinson to get out of that gap. Because at the end of the day, I want to close down that space between me and him as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Because he's a way better athlete than I am. That's why he's playing running back and I'm playing linebacker, right? So close down that space, limit his options immediately, and then lean on your defensive lineman. I think part of the issue was just the front was getting beat up a little bit, and that led to the second level. And listen, you can take offense if you're playing defensive line the Vikings, but the reality is they're in that film watching that, going through these same paces, saying we have to be better.
Yeah.
And that's where accountability and the culture of the team and the mindset of the players is so important, and how the coaches approach that to get better from week 2 to week 3. They're saying, listen, we got to own this, man. This is ours. I don't care how many points the offense scored. It doesn't matter. It's like, what more can we do to win a football game? Because Ivan Pace, last point, is Ivan Pace is known for being around the ball, making plays, scooping up a fumble, causing a fumble.
Yeah.
That's the kid we want to see attacking downhill.
Is there any element, maybe it's just simple overthought, where it's scared money don't make none, because Bijan is so good that it gets. Did you ever get in your head in a game where it's
100%.
like you're so worried about what this guy potentially could do that you actually in some ways fail in the basics and the fundamentals of what you could do?
1,000%. You absolutely get in your own brain about don't attack because I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'll react. Well, when you get in that mode, when you get a guy playing downhill, playing fast, so it's tough. And now you're trying to tackle on your heels, right? I mean, you get in that mode as a defensive player multiple times throughout a game is when you're not reading and playing on your tiptoes and playing downhill, right? Especially against a good run game, you let them get space and let them dictate, and it becomes a problem. Several times in my career, when you feel that way, the Niners game we talk about all the time, when all of a sudden they are just running it down our throat. There's nothing we can do about it.
Tom Sula,
and we might be gapped out, and we have our gaps playing clean, but they're just more physical than us. You can't. In game, it's really hard to fix it. Because it's more of a mentality, and then you lose confidence, and then it kind of snowballs a little.
God, I just remember that Niners game though, where I think it was after like a Carlos Hyde, like a 5-yard run.
It's awful.
Gerald Hodges, like just pumping it up on a stop, like he just made the game-winning
It was like
play.
it was like their 295th yard rushing, and he gets up like, look what I did. Gerald, gotta love him.
I do kind of wonder if Harrison Smith is back Sunday, if they will try to utilize Josh Metellus a little more in that linebacker spot. Not that they're going to go away completely from Ivan Pace, but I do kind of wonder if that would help, just stabilizing the back end. And Josh is just a better box player. He always has.
And I think, again, it's not panic. It's just what's next. And we got to get better quick. But I think what I saw is when we sent extra pressure, when we sent a zone dog or we sent man pressure, when we were adding a fifth rusher or even rushing 4 and dropping a lineman, we were getting picked up. So schematically, being more creative, are we limited because of the people we had, and the personnel that was available to us? Are we limited because Harry's not back there running the show, or are we running our full gamut and the Falcons just had us pegged, and they picked it up and they were able to keep their quarterback upright and he was making decent throws and they had running game going
quick.
And as soon as you let a team, I don't care who the quarterback is, if you let a team run the ball first, now they got both.
Yeah.
And now they have you sucked in, right, to the run game, and now you're thinking run, and then the passing game becomes easier. The thing that we say in every week defensively is we have to make them one-dimensional. If we take away the run game, and that's why those early defenses with the Williams, Wall, and Jared and these guys was you weren't going to run the ball. It was not an option. We were going to give you 50 to 60 yards rushing a game, so you better go throw it. And all of a sudden we have Jared coming off, pinning his ears back and rushing the quarterback 45 times a game. Like, we like our chances. Jared's going to win 2 or 3 of those.
You talk about staying neutral. I mean, like, how important it is. Like, is that harder than, you say it, like, is it hard when you're a player coming off a game like that?
Yeah, I think, it's easier when you're experienced, right? But when you're a young quarterback or a young player in the league, is you do get up and down and you read too much and you're on social media seeing what people are saying and you internalize that and take it personal. And it's the coach's job to give it some perspective and say, we're just going to move on and turn the page. And I always had this mentality as a player, whether it was me individually or the team, is when things are going, when there's chaos, let's go back to our fundamentals. What do we do really well? Let's take that first step. Let's take our first read. Let's make the first play and kind of get your confidence back.
It's interesting when you hear over the course of time the age-old football cliche that football is not about X's and O's, it's about Jimmys and Joes. But then when you get somebody like Carson Wentz, who's been here 3 weeks and change, and he's thrust into a situation to run what some would deem a complicated offense. Well, now when you talk to people on the record or off the record, what matters most? Well, the scheme. Well, we got to figure out the scheme, then we deal with the Jimmy or Joe. Right. Which is it?
Yeah, I think in this case, just knowing the situation, I think it's a combination of the two, and I'm not running from the question. The point in that is he's been in so many systems, and notoriously he's been in, 6 in the last 6 or something.
Yeah.
So he's got a really big dictionary of plays, right? And he understands the concepts because he's a vet. The point is now, and sometimes it can be an advantage when you get a new quarterback, is sometimes you lessen the menu. And all of a sudden you take this big animal, right? And you're like, we're going to shrink it down to these 25 plays, and we're just going to be really good at those plays. And I liken it to my time in Iowa City when I played defense there for the Hawks. is we had like 4 defenses. We played like my entire 4 years. And you were so fundamentally sound with those defenses that nobody was confused, everybody was on the same page, and you had to beat us because we weren't going to make mistakes. And I think sometimes when you shrink the menu like that because of the personnel and the situation, is it makes guys really comfortable in what they're doing, and then you play faster. You're not thinking. You're running quick. You're getting open. The quarterback knows where to go with the ball. It's this, or out. I mean, it becomes more efficient.
It's got to be hard for this staff, too, to shrink the menu because so much of what they do offensively is try to give the quarterback answers to get to the best play on the field. And so to take away a lot of those pre-snap motions would be, in some ways, admitting, like, we might not have the best play for this individual look. But if that makes it more simpler, it might be the optimal approach, especially in this situation.
Yeah, and I think we like it when people just line up and play.
Yeah.
Defensively. That's easy.
Okay.
Right? Because all of a sudden we're going to get this formation. We're just going to line up. There's going to be no motions, no checks, because then all of a sudden it's got to be communication. Right? You're at home. It's 3rd and 5, and everybody's loud, going nuts. Especially this week, the crowd was incredible all the way through. And you're trying to communicate on 3rd and 5, and they shift, and then they get up in motion. He gets set. They motion the back out. And there's 45 communications that have to happen. So if you can just line up and play. So we have to be multiple enough offensively where we're making defenses think. Because if we just line up and play because we're worried about our personnel, that's a real problem.
Yeah.
Well, and the advantage of being at home, I remember it was Dan Campbell. There was this weird post-press conference bit week 1 after the loss to the Packers. And some member of the press is, can you just do what Ben Johnson did on offense?
That was unbelievable.
Can you just replicate it? Yeah. And Campbell then kind of shifted and went down. Ridiculous question. But just, go back and watch all of the motions and pre-snap moves that we make on the road. So the advantage potentially defensively, and Chase is a problem, Higgins is a problem, and all of that. But seeing less of that in your own building can be advantageous and speak to maybe just lining up and playing a little bit.
100%. Be on the road, be at home. I mean, offensively, if you're on the road, it's a loud stadium. You want to do less. Less is more. Less communication. You want to have it's almost zero verbal communication. And that's what I think football is so funny when it's hard to give fans a perspective if you haven't played in front of a really loud crowd. Is like a home game, and it's crazy defensively. You have one person's opinion at all times in your brain. You can't hear anything else. It's your own. And all of a sudden you make a mistake, and then you just start to think, and you're thinking, and you don't even get this like kind of back and forth. Now it's 2nd down. They get a 1st down. Now it's 1st down again. The crowd's crazy. You don't have this. You and I, me and Lieber, right? We don't have this communication. He's coming over like, hey, you're good, dude. Like next play. Like it's all on you. Good or bad, your ability to move on to the next play. It's just it's kind of a game within the game in your own head as a player, because these guys are all pros, but they're also human, and they're up and down with their confidence and what they're doing, and from play to play. And the more you can be even, the better off you are.
You know who I found myself really missing in the Falcons game, and he's really, really good. For sure, especially covering
just
Kyle
come downhill
Pitts.
and knock somebody. Just knock.
I wanted to watch
hard.
you run with Kyle Pitts 30 yards down the field, but
no, I could have showed up that front 7 though.
Okay, 3-2. I found. Did anybody hear? Am I the only one who was really missing Andrew Van Ginkel?
Oh.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
I mean, not only is he unbelievable and he's very, very good, but it's the energy and the way everybody feeds off him and stuff. So I bet he plays this weekend. Maybe it's a little dicier than some people think, but man, Van Ginkel is so important to this whole equation.
Yeah, let's not forget about Mr. Cashman. Van Ginkel. I mean,
but we knew Cash was going to be gone for a month, or so.
When you take, let's talk about Van Ginkel because you brought him up. Just when you take these impactful players off the field, it matters on several levels. It matters on the confidence of the other guys on the field, the other 10. So, do I have to do a little bit more? What have I seen in practice all week with the guy who's going to be in there playing? Maybe not as much experience. I may have to cover for a guy, make sure he's getting the right call and communication. Now all of a sudden I'm taking away from myself. And I think it's the same thing when you just extrapolate that into Cashman and in Van Ginkel. Now you have multiple guys, right, who we rely on, who are really good. Statistically, we know how good Cashman was last year for us. It impacts the team in more ways than one. Not just losing them in their ability and their playmaking ability, but also loses the other 10 guys, 9 guys in this case, when you replace 2, and that affects how they play.
With Van Ginkel, too, you just realize how much he makes things right. for everybody around him. Like, you don't even – I feel like you don't even notice it in the game, but it's like a 3-yard run that he makes the tackle, and it would have been 6. And it's just that level of impact is crazy. But you're right about Cashman, too. Just you feel it.
Yeah, I think like Van Ginkel would make a play. Bijan Robinson tries to get outside, and he just makes that run bubble just a little bit. And all of a sudden now Bijan gets off his track, and now he loses steam, and now the linebacker comes and hits him for a 3-yard gain. That's where you lose him. Also, the playmaking ability that he's making, but he just affects the play so much in ways that don't maybe go in the stat book.
My goodness, whether it's Van Ginkel, then you're looking in the middle with Cashman, and on the back end, Harrison Smith.
Yeah.
How does this thing stay organized over the course of an entire game?
Credit to the staff, credit to Flores. I mean, because we all know and talk about this defense and how complicated it can be or how it looks at times. And sometimes it looks more complicated than it is, but the reality is that communication still has to happen. The guys have to be on the same page.
Yeah.
So that's a credit to them getting everybody prepared for game day. And also just in the week-to-week, like when, all of a sudden, hey, we don't have these 3 guys. All right, it's your turn. Step in and feeling comfortable being able to do that.
Well, I mean, you hit on it earlier, and now I'm starting to think about it a little bit. Pace came up bad in the Falcons game. It's the only way to put it.
He did.
It doesn't mean he is bad.
No.
He came up bad in that spot. So, the point being here, if I'm Ivan, if I'm undrafted Ivan, and I got the scoop and score against the Lions, and I think I got an interception in the Dobbs fiasco at Las Vegas. Okay, so he has overachieved, I guess is the only way to put it. But I mean, he's outdone his draft day or draft weekend lot in life. But, they drafted Kobe King, a linebacker from Penn State. And I can't tell you whether Kobe King, can become the next Chad Greenway, the next Brian Urlacher, or the newest Ivan Pace Jr. But if you come up bad in situations, game after game, and the guy behind you is somebody they drafted, which means they like him, or they liked him at least, and he's probably more of a downhill, run-stopping kind of guy, you just got to be a little careful here if you're old Ivan.
Well, I think you don't know how the staff thinks about him, right? And thinks about the young guy coming in and his opportunity. But I think one word for Ivan is just Ivan's good when he attacks.
Yeah.
And sometimes when he attacks and makes a mistake, we're like, okay, that's Ivan being Ivan. Last year he makes some mistakes and maybe get out of sorts of pass coverage, but he was playing downhill and playing fast, and you kind of live with those mistakes. But I didn't like the hesitant mistakes this week.
But he was the personal protector on the punt, too, replacing Ty Chandler. So maybe it could be there was a lot going on. Cool.
That's
so
not
who
a lot.
much is given, much is expected, man. Get out there and do something.
Yeah, and I think, to your point, is this league is all about looking over your shoulder, and there's a reason you play through broken ribs and broken wrists, because I'm looking behind me with old Gerald Hodges back there and like, he ain't seeing the field.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to have to get me off the field.
You could have whipped on 5 tackles. He wouldn't have beaten you.
No, you were okay, Chad.
But you think about that because you look behind you because you know that guy's younger.
Yeah.
Probably not better looking than me, but he's good. He's talented.
Oh, there's that.
Right? You pay him less. They'd rather actually have him playing, to be honest with you. So, don't give that guy a chance. And that's Ivan's situation. Is like, if I go play and play fast and play well, I know my spot is good, and I don't want to give this young cat a chance. There's definitely a mentality that you have to think about.
The Minnesota Vikings, after playing the Cincinnati Bengals, travel to Dublin on Thursday. They will be in Europe for a week and change. And when we return, I would imagine one of Chad Greenway's more vivid memories from his time in the NFL took place before 83-some-odd thousand at Wembley Stadium when the Vikings beat the Steelers in 2013. I want to recap some of those memories with Chad and continue to talk about Vikings and Bengals when we return to the Friday football. Devin Ward is guiding the Great Ship Love Covenant at FM 100.3 KFAN, and we thank him for his assistance. We welcome you back to the Friday Football Feast at Buffalo Wild Wings Maplewood. Alec Lewis of The Athletic and TheAthletic.com. Eric Nordquist, producer of 9 to Noon and a host of Vikings Fan Line, following each and every Minnesota Vikings game. And I'm Paul Allen, Chad Greenway, a game-changing tackler back in the day. Also the creator and founder of Grey Duck Vodka and Grey Duck Spirits. And somebody that was in Europe to play a football game a decade and small change ago. The Vikings are off to Europe for a game in Dublin against A-Rod and the Steelers, then stay in London or just outside of London proper for the better part of a week to take on Stefanski's Cleveland Browns, then an off week, then the champions after that. Now, your 2013 win versus the Pittsburgh Steelers at Wembley. I mean, I don't know how much you remember about that magical day with like 83,000 people in attendance, but how about this? On a worldly stage, listen closely here, ladies and gentlemen, on a worldly stage in 2013 with 83,000 people rooting for or against, Chad Greenway had 10 tackles leading everybody. They all were solo tackles.
Can't get an assist.
And he had a little
help, please.
You got a little stingy in that game, which is a good thing. And he also had a sack. That was my first time to Europe. Period. First football game over there that I had witnessed. I believe likewise for you.
Yep.
And when I say I don't like to be hyperbolic, best ever, worst ever kind of guy, that's a day when Heath Farwell ran out of that tunnel carrying the American flag, holding it up proudly. The sound at Wembley, I'll never forget it as long as I live.
Yeah, and that's from a player's experience. I love Premier League soccer, so I love Wembley. I love the history of it, and to get a chance to play there was really incredible. I always thought the crowd was kind of interesting during the game.
Yeah.
They're used to constant, movement with soccer, and all of a sudden they're like, "What's this huddle thing all about?" And the timeouts, etc. But they serve a lot of beer in there. Light or dark. My wife was amazed. It was just light or dark. You just grab it off the conveyor belt and away you go. But the one thing that's crazy is it's so funny what happened on here because Nordo probably did the stats because I also had an interception in that game. So it would just be so appropriate that Nordo would leave off another positive I had in that game.
Oh, no, actually, I put all of that together. So that would be my L. Okay, so I don't know if you were like, I just complimented you and got you a round of applause. And then you took a shot at one of my teammates.
Yeah.
Which means...
Oh, he's so cute, though.
No, which means there was a side of you that was a selfish player. And you would make a mistake and blame it on somebody else.
A little bit of a stat hog.
Yep. I would say this. Winning there on the road made that week, it was an incredible week. You're at the Grove. You're having an experience. You're at the Grove Center House downtown London for the last couple of days. You get the dub. That made everything so sweet, and the experience was incredible. And I remember that sack against Big Ben. It took me 6 to 7 minutes to get him down because that dude is massive.
Is there a tougher player maybe you've ever sacked when you think about it in terms of just unbelievably statuesque, yet his ability to just stay up?
He's wearing the goofy hat right now on TV.
I was going to ask.
Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Is that a parrot on top of his head?
We don't know what Cam's doing.
What the heck is that?
I think they call that fashion, but in South Dakota we call that something different.
Yeah.
But listen, he was a problem now because he could actually move.
Yeah.
But where Big Ben was just like, he was like tackling in the left tackle. I mean, it's like tackling Steve Hutchinson. It's like this. How am I going to do this?
Can you imagine going over there for 2 games?
No. I mean, I think this back-to-back is interesting to me because you look at it as like this is a massive positive for our brand globally, right?
Yeah.
To be in Ireland, to go to England and be able to kind of push our brand out there. And obviously we want to go get a couple wins. But I can't tell you how big of a disadvantage this really is. Because when you go on the road like this back-to-back, it is a grind on your players. It's a grind on the staff. It's a grind on people doing the equipment. You got people loading trucks and getting there and getting that.
They sent
it's
like
tough.
a ferry. Apparently, like they've already sent equipment over there.
Wow.
They're like ferrying it from.
Did we go down the Mississippi out from the Gulf?
Yeah,
I
haven't confirmed.
I gotta see that. I gotta see that packing list. See which direction we went. Did we fly it then cargo ship? What's the cheapest option here?
It is the undertaking is kind of wild to hear about.
Yeah, I think. But from a player's perspective, when you go in there, you're gone for 2 weeks, right? You have 2 really, really important games coming off of obviously we have this tough loss. You have this game coming up that's it's like a got-to-win situation, and you have this trip that is going to become a really important talker of your season. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying your season go this way or that way based off of this, but if you go there and this trip affects the win-loss, That's tough. So it's got to be limited distractions, lock in, and hopefully travel's not an issue. Again, the other team has to travel too, but when you're going back to back, it's just different. It's challenging.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers or really anybody, but specifically Pittsburgh, I'd rather play Pittsburgh at what's it called? Croke? Yeah,
Croke Park
in Dublin than at Heinz Field.
Agreed.
However, in fairness, the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base, like Vikings and Green Bay and Dallas, I mean, they travel really, really well.
Yeah, they do, and they're everywhere. And I think I actually went to that Super Bowl. I'm not sure what Super Bowl would have been, like 2008 maybe. And I remember the stands were just all Steelers fans.
At Ford Field?
Incredible.
When they played the Cardinals?
Yeah, this was the one. This was the Tampa Bay.
Oh.
The Cardinals Steelers bit.
Yeah. Antonio Holmes.
What year was that? Was that 08?
I don't know.
It was the 08 season.
Well, your former teammate
crazy is how
Brown
Steelers
got
travel.
beat.
Yes, and how the Steelers travel. So we give up going on the road to their home stadium, and I've never seen more birds flown than in Pittsburgh. Philly fans get a lot of credit for being just supreme jerks. But the Steelers fans had the most birds flying, double birds, couple eagles just coming at you. You pull up with the buses, and just like the whole tailgate just turns and just like does a bunch of crazy stuff to your bus, throws eggs, all the good stuff. But they won't do that over at Croke Park.
It just kind of feels in some ways like you water down the product a bit. Again, in the name of marketing, it's kind of cool. You know, watch, what was it, Chargers?
Let's call Goodell, you and I. Let's run this by him, see what he thinks. Because this dude's pushing so hard to get to Europe, and I'm like, I'd rather this thing be at Heinz and we just go deal with a tough crowd rather than go to Ireland.
That's what I would want to do 100 out of 100 times. And I didn't play. I just think about like the quality of the product, and then the field's always a talker, and I know that was a talker into the Soldier Field game as well. So you can't, maybe even domestically we can have those sorts of issues. But it just, whether it was the turf under the real grass at Tottenham that was basically just carpet on cement. Metrodome must have been like a plush pillow top in comparison to the freaking parking lot that these teams have had to play on. It's just in the name of marketing and growth. The good part is you get to see all those fans. You get to see those international fans buying in. It just seems in some respects the games are never as crisp.
Yeah, I think when you think about it, we're so in it, right? Like, we are NFL rubes, we're Viking rubes. Like, obviously play. You guys have been around the Vikings your entire lives. We're in on it so deep that we like going to Heinz Field and getting a win on the road. We like the NFL as it is.
The comfort of it.
And what you realize is
we can't have it that way forever.
It's just an entertainment business.
Yeah.
Like, it's entertainment, and if you take the show on the road and you gain 1 million new fans, and all of a sudden you got people buying gear and people tuning in and people buying streaming services, and it turns out to be, it turns out this is just a business. We just really love it and want our team to do well. So that's the side that we don't necessarily love, but is real.
The one thing I'll say too is, I mean, the advantage the Vikings do have is how well they've done it in going over there in the past, and how, I mean,
I believe they're undefeated.
the process that they have from you mentioned equipment, nutrition, dietary. Like, I think part of the reason they were even willing to do it for 2 weeks is the confidence they have in the people and the process, which should give. It obviously gives the players a belief, but
I think they're willing to spend the extra to make an experience that's like a home game, and I think that matters a lot. They're willing to fly over, they're spending the time, they're spending the extra money, all this nutrition, everything you're getting. Small talker, real quick. I know we got a break.
Fire.
Chad Greenway is part owner of St. Patrick's Athletic FC in Dublin.
Jeez.
The soccer club. Yep.
Wow.
And so if you guys are over there, make sure you swing over.
Really?
Check out St. Pat's Athletic FC. Tell them the owner sent you.
Does it play? Do they play? They
will not have a game.
They're not in season right now?
Nope, they are in season.
I was about to do a story on St. Patrick. I was going to hype it up.
St. Pat's Athletic FC. Look it up.
Appreciate you, man. Have a good day.
Awesome.
You bet. Thanks.
Chad Greenway, ladies and gentlemen, courtesy of Grey Duck Vodka and Grey Duck Spirits. Into the second hour of the Friday Football Feast presentation, we have a marquee matchup marathon that's going to include some analysis of some very, very cool football games this weekend, and that's around the corner from Buffalo Wild Wings Maplewood. You're listening to KFAN.